118 in the winter of 2025. In this video, I'm going to run through the online components to our course. And this does not replace you reading the syllabus and the other information online, but it's going to get you headed in the right direction. And then when questions come up, please ask. The first thing you need to know is that our launching point for the course is going to be Canvas. And when you log into our course in Canvas, you should be presented with a screen that looks like this. This is the student view. At the top, there's a section that lists recent announcements. It typically shows the 3 most recent announcements. Now, I haven't posted any yet, but I will put one up shortly. That will be the announcement you see on the first day, and it will display up there. And then below that is our homepage, and this will always be here throughout the semester. I've got my fancy little graphic there, and then a description for pretty much everything you need to get started this week. You can see I'm going to post this video and then another little introduction that has my face. Those will be linked here. Please watch those first. Then I have links to our syllabus quiz with its due date. I've made a checklist for week 1. I'll show you that in a second, but you should look at that as soon as possible. And then I mentioned that the required purchase for our course is a Lumen Learning OHM, which stands for Online Homework Management. And essentially, this is our textbook for the class. When you access this link, which is Lumen Learning, you'll be asked to provide a course ID and an enrollment key, which I've listed here in bold. Now, you are required to purchase this for the course, but you don't have to make the purchase at the time that you add our class. There is a 14-day trial period before the payments due. Once that trial ends, though, they're not going to let you have access until you pay. Now, you can either pay directly through the website, or if you're purchasing through the university bookstore, you can do that too, and they'll give you a little card with the code you need to let the system know that you paid. Please get that taken care of as soon as possible, because we actually have homework assignment on the system due Friday, and I'll show you that in a second. Finally, we have a student information inventory, which is just a little Google form that will provide me some extra information about you so that I can get to know you as a student in my course. And then at the bottom here, I've posted my winter schedule, including my office hours. And so I'll be in the office before my Monday, Wednesday class from 8:45 to 10:15, and then I have class from 10:30 to 12:10. If those times don't work for you, though, I'll make sure that I'm available for my online students. So you can post questions in the online forum. You can email me directly. We can talk on the phone or via Zoom. But I will make sure that I'm available to answer your questions, because I know we're in more of a non-traditional setting where everything's asynchronous. So if the office hour times don't work, we will find a time to make contact so that you can get your questions answered. So before we talk about the syllabus and things, I do want to show you what it will look like when you get set up in the OHM. So I've provided a student view here for you, and this is for our course in the winter of 2025. When you log in, this is what you'll see. And I just want to show you a few of the aspects of the screen here so you'll be familiar with things. Anytime I post an announcement on Canvas, I will also post the announcement here. And then I'll try and keep 1 or 2 in this area in the orange, and any of the old ones, I'll just push into this green one that if you wanted to go back and look at them, you could. So I won't delete anything. We'll just archive them in this little green folder. Below that, we have our course documents. So right now, the only 2 things I have linked are the syllabus and then the entire textbook, the web version of the entire textbook. And we'll talk a little more about the textbook in a second here. But those 2 links will always be available in this course documents folder. And then if there's any other documents that apply to the entire course, I'll drop those in there as well. Finally, we get to the week folders. So our course is going to be divided into weeks. I've posted the first 4 weeks here for those of you that like to get started and work ahead a little. And then I'll be, opening up the later weeks as I get those refined and completed. But we'll try to stay 4 weeks ahead of schedule here so that if people are working ahead, they'll have something to do. I encourage you to work ahead, but I know sometimes that's not possible, and that's why we'll sort of space out the due dates throughout the semester. Let's take a look at week 1, which we'll have to start tackling as soon as we can here on Wednesday, the 8th. So when you click the little side arrow here, it drops down the contents of the folder. And you can see week 1 has 5 or 6 things here. The first thing is the week 1 checklist. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link. This is just a Google Doc that I've created to sort of give you the highlights of the items that you'll need to get done this week. And there's a little checkbox so that when you complete them, it'll let you know. So when you bring up the checklist, you can see I've got it here. Let me make it a little bigger for the video. Let's go to 150 here. So the first thing I recommend you do is make a copy of this for yourself. So if you go to File, you can choose Make a Copy, and then you can, interact with the document on your own, and it won't interfere with my document. You're just allowed to view mine. You can't edit it in any way. So this checklist just lists all the things that we want to get done here in this first week. So right away, I say, hey, you better register for OHM, and I give you the enrollment key and the course ID. And when you're done with that, if you check the box, it'll strike it out for you, so you know you're done with it. Student inventory, there's links to that stuff. It's all linked on Canvas and in Lumen as well, but it's listed here. And then I recommend that you do our reading, you watch the videos, and then you ultimately complete that homework assignment. In terms of homework assignments, they're typically due on either Friday or Sunday. I'm not intending that you have to do work on the weekends, so you're welcome to get those done ahead of time. But if you need the weekend to finish that last, usually it's about half of the stuff, I want to provide that to you. So these due dates are set for midnight on each of those days. So if you need that time on the weekend, go ahead and use it. But for us, we've got some things due Friday and then some things due Sunday. I'll talk about the discussion forum in a second here, but these checklists are just designed to help you keep on top of things. I have them set up for the first 4 weeks, and I'll try to make sure I have them for the rest of them as well. But once you get in the routine, I don't know that you'll need the checklist as much. Okay, let's go back to Lumen, OHM. So in each of the sections of our website here, I will always provide like an open discussion area where if you have a quick question about something, you can post it there. These are not required. It's just a good way for you to get your questions answered. And I like to use these for the questions that aren't of a personal nature, because then other students can see the questions that you're asking and see my responses, and then maybe they won't have to ask them. If you have a more specific thing related to, say, your grade or some other thing that's personal to you, of course you can just send me a private message or email, and we'll keep that between us. But for things that are just general questions, please go ahead and use these open discussions. Once you've checked out the checklist, you're going to want to start working on your orientation assignments. I've got those collected here in this orange folder. And you can see that there are basically 3 items that we need to tackle. The first is the student information inventory that I mentioned. Don't click on this black link here. That's a link to an assignment that doesn't really exist. The information inventory is just a Google form, so when you click on it, this form will pop up, and you're just going to type in some information for me. And then once that's done, I'll go through and I'll read it over, and then I'll put your score in manually into the system. So the grade's going to go in this spot. This is just a placeholder. Same thing with the syllabus quiz. Click the link here, and that Google form will show up. Don't take that syllabus quiz until after you read through the syllabus and watch these introductory videos, though. And then finally, you'll have your first assignment on OHM, which is the student tutorial. And essentially, this is just designed to get you to practice with the system. So you get 8 tries on every problem. I want you to get them all right. If you've done it 3 or 4 times and it's not working, send a message to me, and I will walk you through it so you get the credit for that. This isn't designed to hurt you. It's designed to get you familiar with the system. Those are the orientation assignments. And you can see these due dates are listed here right underneath the assignment. We also have our first required discussion forum this week, and you can click on that and then respond to the prompt. I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourself. I've already done my introductions in there, so you can read mine and kind of follow my lead. And then to receive full credit for our required discussion forums, you make an initial post, which is 6 points, and then you reply to at least 2 other students, which is 2 points each, so it adds up to 10 points. So this week, you're essentially just going to reply to somebody and say, hey, nice to meet you. You know, I noticed you do racquetball. I like racquetball too, something like that. The last thing we have this week is our first lesson. So we're going to spend a little time reviewing in the first section, in the first unit of our course. And our first review section is about functions. So typically what I'll hope you'll do is read the textbook. You can either, if you want a PDF version, click this link, or the textbook is a web document, and you can click there and it'll take you right to the section. So it doesn't take you to the whole textbook, it takes you right to the section you're supposed to read. And the same thing with the PDF. That PDF that's linked is just for this section, it's not the entire textbook. There's also a set of videos provided. Sometimes I'll be the person who created the videos, and sometimes it's another instructor that comes with the system. And so these provide you a little more detail, and you can watch the problems being worked out. At any point, if you have discussion questions, either for me or the class, please post those here. Anything related to this unit on functions, go ahead and post it there. I can respond, your classmates can respond, and they can read through and see if the question's already been asked. Again, you're welcome to also contact me directly, but for those non-personal things, it'll be good to get the discussion going here. Finally, we have our first homework assignment, which is due Sunday. And you'll work the questions on paper and then type your answers into the system, and it'll grade it right away and give you feedback. Now let's talk about these late passes. Notice it says late pass allowed. Each week we do have due dates, but things come up in people's lives, and sometimes you run out of time and you don't get the thing completed. Each week you'll be allowed to request a late pass. I don't even need a reason, so you don't need to tell me what's going on, but you'll simply request a late pass, and that'll add an extra week to that homework assignment. Those late passes are available for homework assignments and quizzes. Exam times are a little more, or due dates are a little more firm. So if you have an issue with one of our exams, which are usually available for an entire week, you need to work that out with me individually. But in terms of these homework assignments, I will always grant you an extra week if you need it. But we don't want to fall 3 or 4 weeks behind. So once that week is passed, that extra week is passed, that ship has sailed, and we'll move on to the next assignment. Okay, so let's take a quick look at our syllabus. Although I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, I do want to show you that it's linked in several places. It's linked here on the Lumen site. It's also linked on our homepage on Canvas. And when you click it, it comes up. It's just a Google document, a little more like a traditional syllabus. Let's make it a little bigger so we can read it here. All the course information is listed there, and the course description, and then I kind of go through all the different things that I think are important to the course. For example, I think grading is important, and so what you need to know is that your grade is divided up into these categories, which are weighted. So the orientation assignments that we'll do this week, they will account for 5% of your overall course grade. As we complete discussions that are required, not the open discussions, those aren't required, but when we have our required discussions and tally those grades, that'll account for 10% of the overall grade. And you can see the homework assignments, quizzes, midterm exams, and final exam all have their own weights. We'll shoot for 5 to 7 quizzes, and I'm hoping to get 3 midterm exams to you, and you can see how those are going to be weighted. And then our final exam will happen at the end of the course, and that's going to be worth 20%. Because this is an asynchronous class, that exam will be will be available the entire week of finals. So you'll pick the time that fits best for you, along with your other schedule, whether it's classes or work or what have you. But just make sure you get that final exam done during that time. I also discuss how letter grades are assigned, and that's what I'm going to do when the class is over. I'll just look at your overall weighted average, your percent. I'll round it off to the nearest whole number, and then I'll pick the grade according to this scale here. I have a discussion about due dates and late passes, about homework, about quizzes and exams, discussion forums. All the different aspects of the course are described here. So please read all of this stuff. And then there's extra information at the end of the syllabus about where you can get help and what services are available if you need them. And finally, a section about academic integrity. We want you doing your own work that you've created, obviously. And I'm going to follow these guidelines in terms of evaluating those sorts of things. So please read the syllabus completely and carefully before you take that syllabus quiz. Okay, this video has been kind of long, and I want to reward you. At the end of your syllabus quiz, there's going to be a bonus question, and the question is simply, what is the magic word? And for those of you that have watched the video, you're going to get a bonus point on your syllabus quiz. The magic word is limit, which is one of the topics we study in calculus. Make sure you use all capital letters when you answer that question on the syllabus quiz. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm looking forward to working with everyone, and as the week goes, hopefully we'll make contact, and I'll be there to help you when you need me. In the meantime, take care.